Welcome back to Crystal Clear! I'm Aldrich Fox, and one surprisingly prominent aspect of Steven Universe Future is without a doubt fusion. Comparing the amount of fusions that appeared within 10 episodes of an epilogue to multiple seasons worth of content in the original series is baffling. Since Future began, we have seen Smoky Quartz, Mega Pearl or Prince Pearl, Bluebird Azurite, Alexandrite, Rainbow Quartz 2.0, Sunstone, and shape-shifted variations of Sugalite, Sardonyx, and Opal. That is 9 fusions in 10 episodes, compared to the 8 we got in 29 episodes during the 5th season of the original series. Suffice to say, we'll likely have this tally increase dramatically by the end of Future. But out of those future guaranteed fusions, a huge interest likely lies in one of these being a new fusion for Steven. When it comes to those expectations, the current pattern would put Lapis, Peridot, and Bismuth on the table, Steven gaining a new fusion from the Crystal Gem B team. And although I could totally see that, and these frequent fusions actually make sense, as I explained in my video on how Steven changed fusion, I actually don't believe a fusion with any of the Crystal Gem B team members would benefit Steven's current arc, which finally seems to be in full swing, causing more episodes of Future to tell more of a traditional connected arc than the somewhat episodic nature of the first few episodes. If Steven is due for a fusion with any gem, I actually believe it's going to be Jasper. That's not exactly surprising. The notion of Steven and Jasper fusing in Future has been an idea I've seen suggested more and more with each passing day, so I'm not exactly the first one on the scene with this theory. But as someone greatly invested in the arcs of both of these characters, as plenty of past videos have shown, I'd love to indulge you all in 3 reasons why I believe these characters can and will fuse, benefiting and advancing both of their journeys. Because, in a way, their arcs are becoming one. From a certain angle, they are 2 sides of the same coin. Of course, spoiler warning, if you do not want to know any potential future developments in Steven Universe Future, please click off now. With all that said, let's dive in. Now, the first thing I believe would factor into Steven and Jasper fusing is actually loneliness and relatability, which in the situation would be mutually exclusive. At this point in the story, Steven has felt increasingly isolated from the rest of his family and friends. He feels as if his loved ones are all rounded out. They all have a great idea of what they want for their future and a smooth trajectory to get there. The Crystal Gems want to aid and guide other gems at Little Homeschool, sharing their independent lifestyle with gems from all across the galaxy. Connie's getting a head start on college, and I could see her easily pursuing a career in space. Granted, as Steven said in the movie, she's already been to space. But Connie remarked that her parents are trying to support her interest, establishing that space isn't just a realm for her to have dire missions in with Steven. It is something that genuinely fascinates her, something that's changed her life, and something that she not only wants to learn more about, but wants to explore more of. Granted, I am aware Steven made a remark that when Connie's president, is he gonna be first boy all the way back at Steven's birthday? However, it was an offhanded remark by Steven, and there's a chance the Crewniverse won't use it as retroactive foreshadowing, especially since, again, the movie is already pushing her towards a certain direction. Lars had his bakery, but now he's actually blasting off into space, returning to see even more. Sadie seems to be taking a turn in her music career, the suspects disbanding as she takes off in a duo with Shep, while the cool kids are off doing their own thing. As for Greg, he's living his best life, and he already had a life that he lived. So in a way, it must be even more intimidating to connect with Greg, because Steven may feel like he can't truly connect with Greg until he's had more life experience. But how can he get experience in life if he doesn't even know what he wants to do with his life? Which is another reason why Steven feels so isolated. He's at a point where he feels like he's lost his purpose, where no one needs him anymore. He put himself in a box of helping people, and now it's blowing up in his face. Simply because those people are moving on. He's been left behind. The only other person in Steven's situation who won't try to kill him at the moment is Jasper. Granted, we know Jasper has always been kind of a loner, and that is something that actually bothers her deep down, as her final moments before corruption revealed, but I imagine it was a lot easier for her when every gem on Homeworld fed her ego. It was easy for her to bury her feelings of inadequacy, that something has to be wrong. But now the gems on Homeworld aren't focusing on the diamonds every waking moment of their day. Thus, they're not focusing on the NVPs of those who serve them. them. Everyone's now focusing on themselves, doing their own thing. And while I doubt the respect for Jasper has depleted, the levels of admiration and affection are no longer abundant. After thousands of years, there's finally something else to worry about. And there's no reason for her to be on Homeworld anyways. She can't escape Era 3 on Homeworld. She would never be able to escape Steven just because his influence would paint every single corner. Every step she takes on that planet would be a step riddled with the love of Steven. She can't even bum a job praising the diamonds and have her ego inflated as payment because they're all about Steven and now Spinel. However, whereas Steven is slowly burning his bridges, or at least unfortunately convincing himself that he is, Jasper wasted no time in cutting herself off. While Steven feels as if he's isolated, and I'm sure eventually will actually be isolated from everyone, Jasper already took it to a literal sense, living out in the woods, eliminating any trace of Earthlings around her. And we know she lost her purpose because back in Crack the Whip she stated fighting is her life. It's what she was made for. And she says that although there is always someone to fight, there's no one left worth fighting. The person who was born to fight has no reason, value, or motivation to fight. She briefly had that spark for the first time in 2 years when Steven accepted her challenge to 1v1 no items, but unless she seriously provokes him, it's not like any future encounters with Steven would give her the same adrenaline, because then it'd be much more on par with a sparring match. Steven would be aware of what he was doing. But Jasper already knows she can relate with Steven. It's how she was able to sum him up so well. It's because she saw herself in Steven. Not in the literal terms of Jasper thinks everyone needs help, that she's nothing without friends. But Jasper did feel as if she was nothing without anyone to fuse with. And she likely recognized that Steven surrounding himself with people to help was much like her surrounding herself with people to fight. And once there's no one left, you're going to hit a low. It's likely why Jasper actually heard Steven out at the end of Little Homeschool, and why she didn't reject his offer to visit again. Instead, just remarking, do what you want. Jasper said so many horrible things about Steven, yet his ultimate response was, I may have something to learn from you. Maybe you're not wrong. Of course, at the time, Steven did not think of himself as pitiful, but lately, he may actually think of himself as pitiful. He may not only see what Jasper saw, but with his self-esteem and confidence at a low, he may also begin to actually buy into everything awful she was saying. And that finally takes me into the second reason why I believe these two would fuse. Conflicted feelings about Pink Diamond. Rose Quartz, the person Jasper despised the most, was also Pink Diamond, the person Jasper dedicated thousands of years to avenging. Imagine spending every second of your existence hating someone, dreaming of the day you finally get to confront them, only for that person to more or less be the love of your life. In the sense of how all Homeworld gems were blindly in love with their leaders. Not really romantic, so to speak, but a very intense idolization. We know Jasper still has some lingering feelings about Pink Diamond from Steven's dialogue in the beginning of Future when discussing about Jasper to Amethyst, Steven remarking that he feels he needs to do something about Jasper because it bothers him to know that someone's still out there hurting because of the diamonds because of his mother. And Volleyball certainly illustrated that Steven's not over those issues either. I definitely think Steven paying Jasper a visit is going to be paid off, but only once he hits his lowest low. And with these two already connecting over a loss of purpose, the mutual mommy issues is sure to follow. What Steven said to the Rose Quartz gems about them being siblings also applies to Jasper. And I can only imagine both of their feelings about Pink Diamond is, well, indescribable. Difficult to put into words. And to get Jasper, of all people, to open up, that alone would be a sight to see. Yet these first two reasons only establish the emotional connection of why they would fuse. And I hope with those two reasons, you would agree that it's actually a connection on par with the other characters that Steven shares fusions with. A connection that's certainly unique, certainly heartbreaking in some aspects, but ultimately one that Steven really can't share with any other friends in his life. This takes me to the third and final reason, and something that allows me to provide a scenario where I can see the two fusing. Power. Now this reason benefits Jasper more than Steven, but power and strength have always been a motivation for Jasper, especially when it comes to fusions. With those conflicted feelings about Pink Diamond, no matter how you slice it, Steven has Pink Diamond's gemstone right there on his body. So although Jasper would not be fusing with the person, in a roundabout way, she would still be fulfilling a fusion with Pink Diamond, in the sense that she would get to experience the power of a diamond. Something that I don't believe Jasper can pass up. If the situation came where her and Steven could fuse, once she's warmed up to him, she'll take it at a heartbeat. Now, the scenario is where I believe Steven could benefit from this. I don't believe we've seen the last of any of the antagonists on future display, of course not including the pink-hued white diamond or the giant beast, as they haven't appeared yet. Aquamarine and Eyeball escaped on a note of "we'll be back." The Lapis Lazulis are a loose end, especially since only Nice Lapis attended Little Homeschool. Mean Lapis is still on the prowl. Cactus Steven, I doubt will be an antagonist when he returns, considering he made amends with Steven, but I'm sure there's even more gems in the shadow who, given the proper motivation and opportunity, would definitely strike at Steven. I already speculated that Steven will leave his house, whether if it's him being kicked out or running away. Side note, quick thing I want to mention, I already said in the video I know the Gems kicking Steven out sounds kind of out of character, but just a quick follow-up to some reactions I've seen. Riddle me this. Would you have believed a year ago, after the events of Change Your Mind, that on paper, Steven would willingly not only fight Jasper, but harm her, dick her right in the gut, begin manifesting a slew of pink outbursts, go much more on the offensive against Gems, and even hold his friends hostage? Of course, on paper that all sounds outrageous, because it lacks context. Just food for thought for some theories. Context is everything, and can make even the most unbelievable ideas, well, believable. Anyways, if word spread that Steven Universe was no longer staying with the Crystal Gems, that he's for all intents and purposes alone and vulnerable, I think that would be a good reason for any antagonists out there opposing Steven to make their move, band together, and strike. And if they launch an ambush on Steven only to find out that he's actually with Jasper, Jasper would finally see this as someone worth fighting, and Steven wouldn't want to get pummeled to death. So it's only natural that in a situation like that, in order to protect themselves, the two would share in fusion. And I think fighting these enemies, finally getting another taste of fusion, with the power of a diamond no less, it'd be enough for Jasper to somewhat relapse, going back into the swing of things, but becoming a danger to Steven because she would certainly push him to his absolute limit, only for him to push back, and only for Jasper to double down. Regardless, I'm very curious on what this fusion would be like. And if after the fact, Steven would have any symptoms of corruption, as Jasper is not fully healed. That's right, we're tying together all the theories right now. We even brought it back to corrupted Steven. Isn't life a miracle? But as always, these are just my thoughts, and I want to hear yours. What do you think? Could Steven and Jasper fuse? And if so, how do you think it would happen? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, or tweet your thoughts at RoundtableVids. And for more of my own thoughts, you can find me at ARTWITHKODA. We're also on Instagram. Special thanks to ARTWITHKODA for creating an awesome thumbnail. For more of his wonderful art, you can find him on Tumblr and Instagram at ARTWITHKODA, and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Link down below in the description. Help the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us over at Patreon. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please sort of like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. ARTWITHKODA, signing out.